Island Turtle here. Welcome to BOMISpirit. And Clyde is here too. He's been acting out a lot, which I guess I don't blame him. We've been going through a lot energetically, especially anybody who are light workers. Oh God, we've been doing a lot. So welcome to the Venus retrograde video. Venus is going to be the whole retrograde phase is June 19th to October 7th. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I'm going to do a little spiel on retrogrades before I get into Venus retrograde, just for anybody who's new to astrology or new to my channel or new to how I think and what my opinions are. What I'm about to say is by no means an all-encompassing truth about astrology. This is just my perspective on it. It's just how I observe it, how I understand it. So I look at retrogrades as a time where we are kind of removed or detached from a certain aspect of our lives that are affected by the retrograde phase, Venus being in Leo, right? Now, in this detachment, we may feel like we can't have any progress in that area of our life or that aspect of our life. We may feel things are going awry, things are topsy-turvy. We may just feel really dragged down energy. There's all kinds of ways retrogrades can affect us depending on the planet and depending on the sign and depending on how it's affecting us personally, obviously. But it's a time to grow, it's a time to learn, it's a time to evolve when it comes to that particular planetary sign energy, right? That's how I look at it. Now, the pre-shadow from June 19th to July 22nd, I'm looking at that as the setup for Venus retrograding in Leo, where we're going to start to see even more changes. We're going to start to see opportunities, relationships, these sorts of things that will emerge or become more highlighted in our lives. And it'll be kind of like an indication for you, kind of like a little bit of an alarm bell of like, oh, this is what I'm going to deal with in Venus retrograde. Noted. So yeah, take note of any changes or relationships or challenges that start to emerge around that time, things that are new or again, certain changes. Pretty good indication it's going to be what you're going to be challenged with during Venus retrograde. And then we have the retrograde phase, July 22nd to September 3rd. And then September 3rd to October 7th is the post shadow. The retrograde is when, again, things happen. September 3rd to October 7th is when we are coming off of that retrograde phase. The energy is kind of coming back to an equilibrium. We're actually going to feel more movement in that certain area of our life. We're going to reflect. We've learned some lessons. We're going to cement those lessons, and then we'll be done with Venus retrograde. Now, a lot of people have been very excited. Oh my God, I forgot the timestamp. Darn it. I even wrote it here to write down the timestamp of astrology. Oh well. Anyway, sorry. Coming back. A lot of people have been very excited talking about Venus retrograding in Leo, about it being a time of romance and relationships and marriages and procreation. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of us will experience that. But I don't want, how do I want to say this? I think it's very easy to get focused on the feel goods and the hope and the fantasy of those sorts of things, which again, all really great things. I mean, they bring a lot of joy and light to the world when we talk about love and romance and procreation and all of that fun stuff. But there's some bigger stuff going on during this Venus retrograde that I also really want to touch on. Now, let's talk about the pre-shadow, okay? Now, the pre-shadow, June 19th to July 22nd. We have a lot of activity still with Lilith and Pallas Athena and Chiron. Lilith and Pallas Athena are in Leo, Chiron's in Aries. They've been working with each other for a while, so we've already been subject to this energy, and it's actually been really positive. It's been this like self-expressive energy, getting more in touch with what we want and being more comfortable expressing that, especially where Chiron's at play, because Chiron's about where we carry our wounds, and in Aries, it's the wounded self, it's the wounded identity, the wounded ego. Having issues or insecurity with standing up and standing out, being a leader, asserting ourselves, standing up for ourselves, that sort of deal. It works really nicely with Leo because Leo's all about standing up for themselves and standing up for other people, because Leos put their whole heart into everything. And the wholehearted energy of Leo is going to be an overlying theme with Venus retrograding in Leo. Are you putting your whole heart into what it is that you do? Into your creative projects, into your relationships, into life? And if you're not, is it even for you? Right? There's going to be this like honing in, especially with the pre-shadow, of recognizing, oh, this makes me passionate. Oh, I have no passion for that. oh, this is something I hate doing, but I have to do it. How can I find a way to do it, but not spend so much time and energy on it so I can actually be more fulfilled and more lit up by life and everything that I'm doing? Again, living wholeheartedly, living fully, and like in your own passion and in your own fire. This also goes in line with Vesta, Taurus energy too, that we are still dealing with, and will also be present during the pre-shadow, which has been bringing up blueprint energy and how we find our own security, especially financial security, following our missions, our sacred purpose, our blueprints, which is really just us being us. But all this Leo Aries energy is helping us to understand and feel. There's a very like physical sensation about like where about this period of time that we're in. Um, yeah, it's almost like a body wisdom in a way. Like our body's telling us, like, oh, yes to my soul, no to my soul, right? So just pay attention to those things, especially during this pre shadow. Now, in this pre shadow, Venus in Leo will be working with Lilith, Chiron, and Pallas Athena. So again, just bringing more of the emphasis to what we're going to be learning under Venus Leo retrograde phase. Okay. What else do I want to mention about the pre shadow? And yes, I do get on my notes here. Ooh. Oh yeah, full moon Capricorn and new moon Cancer. That's going to be interesting. So in this pre-shadow, we have two moon cycles, the full moon Capricorn and the new moon Cancer. That axis is all about mother, father, patriarchal, matriarchal energies, the home versus work, right? That axis, where we find our own emotional stability or financial stability will be highlighted. Now, in terms of like what that means for Venus being in Leo and all this, you know, living wholeheartedly energy, it's going to bring up the potential to see the shadow of Venus Leo energy come up, which is selfishness and greed and indulgence and intoxication and things like that. Now, especially with Venus retrograde, Venus in and of itself represents intoxication. But intoxication is not innately bad. It just depends on how it's managed, handled, and how it's expressed, right? How it manifests. It can be, I feel blissful and I'm on cloud nine. That's intoxication. The euphoria of, how do I want to say, of enlightenment, right? That's kind of a form of intoxication. There's also like addiction, right, on the other spectrum. So just be mindful that during these moon cycles that may come up. And with the new moon in Cancer, there does have this feeling a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a harshness, especially if we have been leaning more towards this other end of the spectrum of like shadowy Leo sort of energy. Because Cancer is emotional. Cancer really is about emotional support and giving to others. And Venus and Leo does want to give to others, but if we've been expressed in the shadow, it's going to be a rude wake-up call, right? So just things to expect with the pre-shadow. It's going to be all about just highlighting the heart, highlighting desire, and how you're tuning into that, not tuning into it, utilizing it, or utilizing it in ways that are potentially not healthy or even detrimental to other people. Now, of course, because it's going to be happening around everybody as well. One last thing I want to mention about the pre-shadow. On the day of the pre-shadow, June 19th, Jupiter will be sextile Saturn. Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Taurus, and they will be exact. Why is this important? Because Jupiter sextile Saturn wants to really reward people. Wants to provide opportunities for long-lasting success, whether that's marriage, business, personal goals, right? Whatever that may be for you, creative projects even. Now, it does require long-lasting investment to receive those long-lasting rewards and long-lasting success. I suspect, because this is baked into literally the day of the pre-shadow, that a lot of those rewards will probably not be seen or fully realized, is what I want to say, or fully manifested until Venus is done with Leo October 8th. So keep in mind too, with Venus Leo retrograde, there are opportunities to be had for long-lasting success and successful commitments and devotions, whether that's relationship-based or not, right? But it's all about how we handle it. It's all about how we handle it. Venus retrogrades at Leo 28 degrees. It starts the pre-shadow at 12 degrees Leo. There are two fixed stars that'll be highlighted here. Acubens, which is at Leo 13 degrees, and Regulus, which technically now is at 0 degrees Virgo, but it's close enough and it's a very significant star. So I do want to mention that I do think that it plays a role into this Venus retrograde lesson, phase, period of time. Regulus is the heart of the lion. It's the heart of the king. It's the heart of the emperor. It is also associated with Archangel Raphael. It's one of the archangel stars. There's 4 archangel stars that were associated with like the solstices and equinoxes and things of that nature. But anyway, Regulus being here, I think, is also just literally epitomizes what Venus Leo is bringing up for us. Well, first of all, are we connected to our hearts in that way? And do we act from our hearts in that way where it is the heart of someone who is regal, the heart of someone who is honorable, the heart of someone who has integrity, who has maturity, who can walk that line of also feminine and masculine, right? Where, yeah, you can have compassion and gentility, but it doesn't mean you're a doormat, right? It means you have boundaries, and also means you're going to get shit done, right? And that you can speak up for yourself and you can speak up for other people, but not in a way where you're trying to wage war, right? In a way that's petty or egoistic or violent or aggressive. Those are going to be huge themes as well during the retrograde phase. So just keeping that in mind. Now, Occupant's the other fixed star at Leo 13 degrees, which again is coming up during the pre-shadow. So pre-shadows are like this. So the pre-shadow starts at Leo 12 degrees. And then, Venus keeps moving, hits the retrograde point at 28. And then it's retrograding, and then it hits the 12 degree and goes stationary direct. And then it finishes the post-shadow at 28 degrees. So like that's how it works, right? So Occupans and Regulus. Occupans is kind of interesting. Occupans is, again, Leo 13 degrees. It's called the claws. The claws. It has a little bit of a bite. Literally, has a little bit of a bite to it. It also represents lies and things that are hidden away. There are going to be some, I don't want to say this. There are going to be a lot of things that come to light during this Venus retrograde, especially because of the activity Pluto is going to be having with the North Node, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I do feel like this is a little bit of a test, because Occupans, in a way, likes to punish, likes to be violent. And again, Venus is working with both of these, Occupans and Regulus. So it's like, which route are you going to take, right? Are you going to be a punisher? Are you going to condemn people? Or are you going to be a king, queen, emperor, empress, and have the heart of one? That's like the most important thing here. It's not just a mental thing. It's not just in a spiritual sense. It's your heart. It's your emotions. It's your passion, and how you act accordingly with that out in the world, and how you speak out in the world, all of that sort of deal. There's also this feeling too of ascension with this Venus retrograde phase as well. It feels like we're walking into a period of time of tests, initiations for some people, not for everybody, but also this solidification of emperor, empress for people who are at that point on their journey, which I think is really nice. Now, that's all I have to really say about the pre-shadow. Let's get into retrograde. So up till this point, we've got this fiery energy. People are getting more comfortable expressing themselves. We're getting a little bit of reality checks as far as like, where's the line, right? Of asserting oneself, where it can be detrimental to other people versus having boundaries versus like being a doormat, right? Finding the line and all of that. And then Venus goes retrograde July 22nd. The very next day, Pluto goes exact square the North Node in Aries. And then it does it 2 more times within the span of a week. And Chiron retrogrades. It's going to be like boom, 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 boom. Now, Pluto square the North Node. There's going to be some more corruption brought to light. Shocker. I mean, we already know. I mean, we're just going to get continued hits of waves of like more shit coming to light, like becoming more aware of the corruptive forces that have been at play. But Pluto square the North Node also brings inevitable changes. Now, I'm not trying to be all dramatic, and I'm not trying to make anybody anxious. It's just what this energy can bring, right? This energy can also bring a feeling of crisis. Now, individually or collectively, when I say collectively, I do mean globally, whether that's economically or otherwise. Now, Capricorn Aries energy, it's like Aries, the I, the self, the initiator, Mars, like a change agent, up against Capricorn, government, institution, policy, right? Long-lasting, how do I want to say this? Authority, rising up against that, wanting to rise up against that. This is kind of the energy of war. It is also the energy of, how do I want to say this? breaking away, right? Like continued breaking away from the old to establish the new. But there's something about it that feels very chaotic to me. Like when I tuned into it, it was like, whoa, like individually and collectively, like we're going to be hit with things that are way out of our control that will make us realize how out of control things are or how little control we have. And for some, maybe even a feeling of powerlessness. But it's also a time after being introduced as Venus Leo energy to have a united front with other people, right? So during the pre-shadow, again, take that special note of what lights you up, what makes you feel passionate, what fuels your soul, especially relationship wise. Because when shit hits the fan in late July, whether that's individually in your own life or there's something collectively, globally that could be happening, you're going to want to be with the people that are really aligned to you and really aligned to your soul, the people that you can really be devoted to and who can be devoted to you. Again, the heart of the emperor, heart of the empress, heart of the king, heart of the queen, heart of the lion, heart of the lioness, right? So again, I'm not trying to bury money. It's just, it is what it is. It's going to be a huge, massive shift at the end of July. Like there's no way around it. It is what it is. Now I'm also looking to around this time, Pluto's going to be opposing the sun. And Mercury is going to be working with Venus. Mercury working with Venus, I think, is a beautiful thing during this time because Venus will be freshly retrograde, and Mercury working with Venus will at least allow for some clarity to be happening while we're freshly in this retrograde energy, and then shit's hitting the fan. So I like seeing that. But Pluto opposing the sun while it's also square the North Node, that to me brings up this energy of like wanting to dominate, wanting to feel powerful in a time where we're feeling powerless. So again, heart of the emperor, heart of the empress, heart of the lion, heart of the lioness. Don't fall prey to that. Recognize it. They're bringing up bravery. And I know that this is something that's been reiterated throughout movies and media and stuff like that. I'm probably not even going to say it exactly how it's been reiterated, but like false bravery, right, is pretending like you're so powerful and like you have no fear and whatever. It's like a very egoistic way of like false confidence. But real bravery is having that vulnerability to go like, yeah, I'm scared shitless. I feel really powerless, but you know what? I'm going to try to do something anyway. I'm going to try to do something about it anyway. But I keep feeling united fronts through this chaos. So end of July, very chaotic energy. Now, the retrograde phase goes all the way up through September 3rd. Now, when we get to late August, Mercury is going to retrograde in Virgo, and Virgo is going to be very important too during the latter part of this retrograde and even during the post-shadow. Virgo is coming in like a soothing agent is how it feels to me, and Virgo energy is going to be in Mercury, Uranus, Orcus. Orcus is really important here too. Orcus also likes to punish, but Orcus is also about studies, especially occult studies and esoteric studies, like even like sacred geometry and like things like that. Mercury will also be working with Uranus at this time. I expect that this is going to be the time where we feel the next shift. And it could even potentially start as early as August 16th when we have the new moon in Leo, because we're still in a lot of Virgo energy too at that time. But it's not until Mercury starts to actually work with Uranus around, again, like very, very late August where we're going to see this, where we're going to see solutions arise, groundbreaking ideas, groundbreaking inventions and innovations. I expect to see a lot of breakthroughs in the scientific community as well. I think that's going to be massive. A lot of breakthroughs with resources are also very possible globally. And of course, this is also on the individual level as well. You may pick up a lot of new studies as a result of the chaos that happens in your life individually, or again, even collectively. It'll be a stabilizing force. And I also want to say that axis, the Virgo Pisces axis, will be a comfort throughout this entire time. So whatever houses that you have Pisces and Virgo in, I would really lean on that. If you find that things are getting really chaotic, I'd really lean into those houses in your life because they're going to be very rewarding, especially because Saturn being in Pisces and Neptune being in Pisces, there's not only like a spiritual intuitive comfort happening there, but remember, Saturn was working with Jupiter at the start of all of this, bringing us lasting success. And that is one of the houses where Saturn's going to be. It's going to be in Pisces. So lean into that. Okay. What else do I want to mention? But yeah, this is where we're going to start to feel like we can restore order. That was the biggest thing that was coming through. Restoring order, restoring order, restoring order. restoring order. And then we hit September 3rd and we Venus goes stationary direct. And again, the post shadow finishes off October 7th. October 7th, and then just in time for eclipse season. Right? Just in time. Just in time. Anything I want to mention about this? Yeah, it's honestly just continued restoring order, balance. There's karmic justice, new studies. There's still a battle with impulsivity and indulgence happening as well. Yeah, ooh, the full moon in Aries. That's jumping out at me pretty strongly. September 29th, the full moon in Aries at 6 degrees. I wrote pioneer thinking, pioneer spirit, continued united fronts, confidence to initiate even further change. That's going to feel really nice. Yeah, so again, the post shadow September 3rd to October 7th, it's just a coming down, a balancing out, a restoring order, a cooling off period. It actually, if I keep getting it, feels soothing. Like as I'm tapping into it, it just feels really, really soothing. All right, now as far as the signs will be most affected by this, Leo, obviously. Leo, Venus, Leo, Aries, and then I'd say Taurus are going to be the most impacted signs as far as energetically feeling the intensity of everything that's going to be going on. And then Capricorn, Virgo, and Pisces are definitely in the mix too, but Leo, Aries, and then Taurus, I would say. Again, you're just going to feel the intensity probably the most. And again, don't forget to lean into your houses where you have Virgo and Pisces. I do want to do sign readings individually for all of the signs. I just haven't had the time. And like I said, light workers, we've been going through some weird energy. We got a lot of codes that came in, and it was like, I mean, it laid me out, and I'm still kind of like, I'm not totally back yet. But yeah, I want to. We'll see if I'll be able to, but it's in the works. It's in the back of my mind. I do want to do a collective spread though, at the very least. So let's go ahead and do a timestamp here. Okay. For a collective read. Okay. Venus retrograding in Leo. My, oh my, oh my. You know what? This calls for Big Bertha. This totally calls for Big Bertha. No question there. For those of you guys who are new, who's Big Bertha? This is Big Bertha. She's a combo deck. These are decks that I use for it. All the decks that I use are linked below. The Starseed Oracle and Angels and Ancestors deck. Yeah, there's a big job for Big Bertha. Again, don't be scared. It's life. That's his life, right? That's his life. I gotta watch the time. Oh, I'm good on time. Okay, good. Good. Any messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? This is a time of major growth, guys. So they're stopping me to talk about this. This is a time of major growth. And again, nothing wrong with focusing on romance. I think, again, I love love. Romance is beautiful. Romance is intoxicating, literally. But this is a time of major personal growth where we can really rise to the occasion and emotionally mature. Some people can have the opportunity to really finally step into leadership roles if they've been struggling with that their whole life. This is a period of time where we can really break the chains of anything we've been really tied to, especially when it comes to old programs or really old insecurities, old ways of doing things. Like think about Pluto Capricorn, right? Pluto's been dismantling Capricorn for a good while. And yes, Pluto did move into Aquarius very briefly, and it'll move back. It'll be cemented back into Aquarius November 2024, I believe. I mean, I could, double check that, but I'm pretty sure November 2024 is when Pluto will be back cemented in Aquarius. But Pluto is doing its final run through of Capricorn. It's this final evolution of Capricorn where, think of Scorpio, think of the Phoenix, right? Where we burn it to the ground. Right? Burn down these old ways. This not just old, hold on, let me find out how to phrase this. I want to phrase this perfectly. Where we finally burn to the ground what we always thought institution, security, authority, even especially social security, right? And all of that governance was supposed to be, so it can be different. It has to burn down completely so it can rise from the ashes again. evolved, right? Right. It's groundbreaking times. There's a lot more to focus on than love. But yes, love is grand. Love is grand. And I keep getting to that, yeah, this is also going to be a time of serious innovation. Like serious innovation and ideas. So if you've been getting nudges to like research something, like literally invent something or get patents on something, write about something, like make that a priority. Especially if it lights up your soul, like make that a priority. This is a time where we cannot do what we've always done. Like those times are over. Okay? Those times are over. They're long over. Okay? I feel like my spirit guides are like, yes, yes. Like cheering me on right now. Hearts on and hearts forward is what I just heard. Hearts on and hearts forward. Hearts on and hearts forward. Maybe that'll be the title. Hold on a second. I like that. Okay. And they're bringing up the war stuff again. Even in the energy of war, it doesn't have to be what war has always been. Whether someone's trying to wage war on you or you feel like you need to wage war on a policy, a way of being, or even a person or a governance, like it's not about the way we've always seen war. It's different. It's a standing up to initiate change. Like we need a new, that's what it is. We just need a new word for war, really, is what it is. We need a new frequency for it, to describe it, to have a word for it. War is not war. It's standing up, it's speaking up, and it's making change. It's initiating change. Yeah, it's like, okay, like instead of fighting the villain, right? Instead of fighting the villain, just create the thing that you want, right? Just put your efforts towards creation, not just destruction. It's falling apart anyway. Things are falling apart anyway. That's interesting. Put your efforts towards creation. I still feel like there's dismantling that has to happen, but maybe that's the thing. Oh, maybe that's the thing. Oh, maybe that's the thing. Destruction will happen naturally. Decay, dismantling happens naturally, especially if you already create something to replace it. Like, how do I explain this? Focusing efforts on creating whatever it is that you want to be the new, like the new policy, the new governance, the new way of living, the new kind of relationship you want, the new kind of situation you want, the new kind of job you want, whatever it is, like putting your efforts towards that creative endeavor, you're already creating the container for the new. And as a natural reaction, even energetically, the old will dismantle. The old will fall apart because it can't match that frequency. It can't, thank you. Oh my God, that's exactly what it is. Yes, put your efforts towards creating whatever that thing is, whatever it is that you're like, oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, because you're looking at things that are not working or things that are detrimental to you or other people. And you're like, no, fuck it, there's a better way. I'm going to make the better way happen. Focus on the better way. Focus on the new, because the frequency of that intention, of that heart of the Empress, the heart of Regulus, will just override whatever old thing is, oh, I can feel it, is distorted and doesn't work. It will just automatically shift things. Does that make sense? Oh my God, yes, thank you. That felt good. That felt good right through me. Okay, do we even need cards? Any messages or insights for Venus retrograde? Oh, hold on, I thought of a better title. Okay, sorry. All right, we'll come back. I mean, this is also why it's so important to not get caught up in fear, right? To not get caught up in fear and not get caught up in Yeah, the fear. I mean, again, just all going back to fear. The fear and the fear mongering, right? Because it's like all you're doing is just feeding the frequency that you don't like, that you don't want to see, that you want to go away. So focus on what you want to actually be. Talk about the things you want to be. Talk about the things you want to do. Talk about the things you want to see, and just keep doing that. And everything will just start to shift. Anyway. Sorry, getting all passionate. Any messages or insights for Venus retrograding in Leo? Kind of goes in line too with the messages I've been getting for the last couple of weeks for you guys, right? About focus. Wasn't that just the last moon? Oh my God. Was that just the last moon cycle? Why does that feel like forever ago? The full moon in Sag, right? The eye. That feels like it was an eternity ago. Anyway, any messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Summer, we like it. Well, we already know it's summertime. Bask in joy and light. Just be the light, guys. Just be the light, be the light, be the light. There's also a very active card too, where it speaks a lot about having a lot of vitality and being very physically active, which we already knew we're in an active period of time, and it's going to get more active here, okay? But summer is a time of literally enjoyment, of abundance, of fertility. It's very Empress-like. Because there is so much to be gained. That's what I keep saying. It's like there's so much to be gained during this Venus retrograde that is so much more about love and romance. Okay? Massive success, growth, abundance and fertility, health. Like improved health can happen here. Again, Jupiter, sextile Saturn, long-lasting success. Huge breakthroughs personally for a lot of people. Moving into our hearts in a way where we haven't before for a lot of people. It kind of, to be honest, it kind of feels like a revolution. You know what? That's kind of interesting. It feels like, and you know, like, okay, I don't want to bring up the frequency of Revolutionary War, like, you know, for anybody who's not in the States, right? But it kind of feels like that. It's like starting the next Revolutionary War from the heart. Literally, like via the heart and via creation, not violence. Just through light. That's what it feels like. Anything else for Venus retrograding in Leo? Decide who you want to be in the sun with, you guys. Like, seriously. I mean, people have been getting cleared out, but decide. Make those choices if you haven't. It's just going to get harder if you haven't made those choices yet. Let's see what we got here. Embrace the energy of peace. Yes. Not aggression and violence and fear. Druid, hold the space, and Earth Mother, feel loved and comforted. Totally feel like this is channeling my light workers right now. Hold the space of love, with love, like literally, like sit in that energy of love, of light, of open-hearted energy, and just keep emulating that. Just keep emulating it. No matter what happens, just keep emulating it. Don't get caught up on the bullshit. If you do see bullshit, immediately put your mind to, what can I do to replace the bullshit? Like, put your mind there. What can I, like, okay, homework. People start talking about shit. People start trying to, like, talk fear with you. Actually, I like that. Are they talking fear? They're talking fear. If people start talking fear with you, people start, like, you know, getting caught up in the world is ending. Just immediately go, what can I do to replace that? What can I do to replace that dilemma? Some of you are going to need to bubble. Sorry, with the Druid coming up here. So you guys are going to really need to bubble at certain points. Especially when the chaos gets really like really lights up. If you need a bubble. You guys know when. You guys should have your own accountability with that at this point. Am I taking this? No. Okay. Anything else for the collective for Venus retrograde Leo? Especially if there's like a lot of people shifting in your reality. You guys might have a lot of periods where it's a lot of quiet. A lot of quiet, and maybe where there is like nobody. But if you hold that energy long enough, you hold this energy long enough, you hold peace long enough, those same people who are holding that will find you in some magical, mystical way, okay? God, the fertile energy I'm feeling right now is crazy. Okay, anything else for Venus retrograding in Leo for the collective? Water your garden. Yeah, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. Again, bubbling, taking care of the self where need be. That's also part of Venus Leo too. It's like self-care. Self-care is super important. And there is a lot happening physically, especially for my light workers, my spiritualists, my spiritual people. Like I said, there's been a lot of codes kind of coming in, and it is a very physical sensation. There's something about this too that feels nice about being in the present. Staying present and staying aware. But self-care. Self-care. Definitely part of the bubbling too. Don't know if I mentioned that. Anything else for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Let's see. The sun. Enjoy success and happiness. Oh, I love that. I love that. And like I said, there's amazing things to enjoy from Venus retrograding in Leo. It just depends on how you manage it. Depends on how you navigate it. Again, don't fall prey or victim to, I need to be in control. I need to win. I need to dominate. I'm afraid, so I'm going to lash out. Like, don't fall prey to any of that. Just sit in the heart. Just sit in the heart. Just sit in light. And I'm not like trying to be all like, ooh, love and light. Like, I'm not, like, you guys, for anybody who's watched me for a while, you guys know that's not what I'm like. But this is about holding a certain frequency in the midst of chaos. Okay, how do I want to say this? I've been listening to a book, excuse me, from that shaman, Don Miguel Ruiz. So, I mean, for anybody who hasn't read any of his books, read his books. He's amazing. And the book I'm listening to is Mastery of Self right now. And he talks about the collective manifestation of reality as a dream, which I actually really like, because like in a way I think that does describe it perfectly. It's like, yes, this is a physical reality, but it is also a dream at the same time. Holding this frequency is part of creating a collective dream, the collective reality. That's part of it. And there is a responsibility to that, right? Especially for people who are spiritualists or light workers. You guys know better than anybody the responsibility that comes with that. It's just the responsibility to the collective, and also again to the self, but also to the collective. Anyway, overall we have seer, see beyond the current situation. Remember what I was saying too about long-term consequences of our actions and our behaviors, right? What is possible here is it's amazing, actually. What is possible to come out of this Venus retrograde phase individually and even potentially collectively is a time of rejoice. Is a time of living in the sun, right? But you got to be able to see that. You got to see through illusions. You got to see through programming. You got to see through distortions. Like a smoky mirror. Like a smoky mirror. There are people who will not understand you being in this energy. A lot of you guys who have been in this energy, you already know. But that's because they're seeing through smoke, right? They're seeing through some sort of distortion. They're seeing, distortion that's created out of their own fear, right? But if you can see through the smoke, you can see that this is possible. And you'll see other people who are holding this frequency as well. Underneath that, the heart guardian. Love and let yourself be loved. That it is very much possible to give and receive in this energy, but it's only with people who are holding that same frequency. Not everybody is, okay? Not everybody is. Underneath that, I do want to mention this too. The courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be seen. It is safe to, again, with the right people, and you'll see them for who they are. Again, this whole period of time is also about expression, self-expression. And then I just love this because it kind of feels perfect. Lord, Emperor. This is basically the Emperor. Take charge with authority. Take charge with authority and being in your empowerment, but being in your heart and being yourself, right? So it's exactly what I've been talking about, right? It's like the heart of the Emperor, the heart of the King, the heart of the Lion, and just being all of just who you are in it. But expression, right? It's an opportunity to do that. But I keep getting to, it's like, it needs to be done. I feel like I got this recently with the weekly too. Like with discernment a little bit here. Where yes, carry this frequency, hold this energy as you're walking around in the world, but recognize who can't see you. Like, right? Right? Recognize who can't engage with you like this. Like you need, like, definitely recognize that. Don't let it stop yourself from being expressive, but recognize. And that's where boundaries come in. That's where discerning choices and decisions come in. Again, especially with who you allow in your reality and who you don't, right? Yeah, just has to be said. All right, let's pull some more cards here. Kind of want to do animals because I always want to do animals. But let me take a brief little scan of the decks I pulled out. Ooh, I haven't done you in a while. Beyond Lemuria. We'll do this one and then we'll do maybe some tarot cards. Let's see. Any other messages or insights for Venus retrograding in Leo? Now, again, I have every intention of getting to sign readings. I'm not going to do signs today, but I have signs for Venus retrograde. I also have another series, too, that I'm working on, the You and Me series. And those will just come out as, you know, as I can do them. And the You and Me series, I decided to do the entire time Venus is in Leo because it is highlighting so much about, like, relationships and then who we're taking along for the ride, who we're not, right? Who we need to set boundaries with, who we don't. And boundaries, I mean, I feel like I want another word for boundaries too. There's so many words I just wish I could replace. I mean, I kind of make up words all the time accidentally. Fencing? No, that's not right. That's not right. Because I feel like boundaries, it's like, it comes off like really cut off. Like blocked in a way that I don't like the feeling of it. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of another word. Anyway, any other messages or insights for Venus retrograding in Leo for the collective? And know when shit hits the fan. I shouldn't even say it like that. See, it's like I'm so aware of my words at this moment. Late July. I'll just say when the great shift happens. I'll just say it that way. When the great North Node Pluto square shift happens at the end of July, holding this frequency is going to get you through it. Holding this frequency and taking care of yourself too in the midst of that is also going to help you be very clear on how to navigate it. And especially if you've chosen people who are holding that same frequency along with you and they're focused on that, there's going to be a united energy there between all of you too. A supportive energy, so just know that. Any other messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Freedom. Oh, we like seeing that with the dragonfly. This card does have a third eye energy component to me just because Dragonfly represents that for me. For some people, Dragonfly represents transformation as well, but freedom. Freedom is a state of mind. It's a state of mind. It's going to sound really weird. I mean, some of you guys probably already privy to this. I don't even remember when this came out, but Eddie Griffith did a stand-up a long time ago. I can't even remember the name of it. But I was honestly, even back then, I was like, whoa. Because he was dropping some knowledge. He really was. He was talking about the pyramids. He was talking about the concept of freedom, all of that. And yes, he was saying it like within these like colloquialisms of, modern speech and whatever for people to get. But like, he was really dropping some truth bombs. But anyway, and that was something he did speak on, but it's true. Freedom is a choice. Freedom is a state of mind. And when we are in a closed off space, when we're really feeding out of fear, or we're allowing ourselves to be subjected to the programming, right, that has kept us sort of like bogged down and essentially like enslaved to these old distorted ways of being and like old patriarchal shit, all that stuff, we're allowing ourselves to be enslaved and not truly free in our choices. Our mind is limitless. Our consciousness is limitless. And so is our ability to co-create whatever reality we want, especially depending on the people we decide to do it with. It's a state of mind. And if you need to, this feels like it's coming with like a shift in that perception, a shift in that awareness, in that ability to co-create. You can only live, okay, let me say another way for other people who may be struggling with the way I'm talking about it. You can only experience emotions, certain relationships, certain events as far as the parameters of your own belief system. Okay? Like, you can't have a certain experience and be enlightened in it if like your consciousness isn't encompassing the parameter of enlightenment, right? Like, if you live in the parameters of fear and anger and cynicism, you're probably only going to be able to experience things within that realm, right? Within that box of events, right? You understand what I'm saying? It's like our minds are incredibly powerful, and then our consciousness is fueling that. So anyway, freedom's a state of mind, shifting our belief systems to be able to be more free. Like, I keep getting the word parameters, like reestablishing parameters of belief systems, of the mind, of our consciousness, to widen that, expand that. Ooh, yeah. She of the Lotus. Not my favorite card. This is like the only card in this deck that feels kind of gross. She of the Lotus speaks of distortion. There's a sister card in this deck called the Crystal Keys, and it's this exact same mirror image, except the coloring is different. But She of the Lotus literally speaks of that. It's about needing to face distortion, distorted ways of thinking, self-limiting beliefs, that sort of deal that keep us held back and keep us in these small parameters. So it's literally what I was just talking about, breaking our own parameters here of our minds, of our awareness. And then we have Portal Keeper, which I also really like. 50, breaking down to a 5. This feels a little bit like the Death card, actually, which is strange. I almost never feel that here, but I feel like not necessarily going to the portal, not necessarily that, but like massive change, massive shifts. Allowing yourself to go there. Allowing yourself to go there. Some of you may identify as a gatekeeper of sorts. I actually don't like that word anymore either. There's a lot of words, again, and a lot of words I need to replace. But that's what I'm getting. It's like allowing yourself to go places you didn't allow yourself to see before, and the change that comes with that. Okay. Anything else for Venus retrograding in Leo? They keep drawing back to She of the Lotus. Hold on, there's more stuff to say there. Okay, well, that's all the cards anyway, other than the overall. Ooh, nice with the overall. With the She of the Lotus, for some of you, this is going to be very emotional. to break and shatter these parameters of belief systems and of your consciousness, where it's going to come with some shadow work potentially, or even a clearing. Some of us have been going through a heart clearing as well. That can be very emotional. That can be ups and downs of anger and depression and crying and elation, and it can be roller coaster if you're going through a heart chakra opening. But just so you know, for some of you it may be emotional. Take time out if you need to, because any sort of shift like that can also affect the body as well. We did get a little bit of that energy too, to take care of the self. Overall, we have balanced forces. Oh, and look, the third eye. So much third eye energy here. And again, I talked about this with the full moon Sag, and again, that's on Patreon and Vimeo for anybody who is curious about it and who hasn't seen it, where I talked about we're going through the eye. We're going through the eye of the North Node, the eye. Anyway, so here we still have a lot of this third eye energy, but balanced forces, again, this is about maintaining our energy, holding our frequency, how to navigate the chaos and the changes with a mastery of focus, right? A mastery of focus, and allowing it to also open our hearts. And so we can really work from that place of not only what it is that we want and co-create from that place, but where we can also have deeper devotion, deeper sense of love, deeper sense of integrity and responsibility, and have the heart of a lion, heart of a king, heart of an empress or emperor. But that third eye, man, that to me just feels like massive expansion, and also the shift in perception that I mentioned before. And I'm just going to point it out. Loving compassion, love, let the love in, let it in. All right. Oh, that's my alarm. Oh shit, I wanted to pull more cards. Okay, I have a smidgen of time left, so I'm just gonna do one more pull, and it's actually gonna be just a straight up tarot deck, and then I'm gonna go. Okay. Any other messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograde in Leo? I'm hearing activation. Again, we got a lot of third eye energy here, so don't be surprised if you meet people around this time and you get hella activated. Or you activate them. Don't be surprised. Any other messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Let's see here. Yeah. The Sun, Eight of Cups in reverse, and the Three of Swords. You're going to get very clear on what has been having a hold on you emotionally. What have you been dragging around in your heart for a long ass period of time? This also speaks to attachment and codependency. It feels like a really deep heart clearing and cleaning. Like, remember I was talking about like breaking away the chains? Like, that's what it feels like to me, but it feels like, it just feels like it's way deep down in there. Like this, yeah, like way deep down in there. But liberation though with the Sun card, getting clear on it and being able to finally detach from it, have a new beginning on that. The parameters, to bring up the parameters again. This emotional stuff, these attachments, these codependencies, and for some of you guys it's addiction, some of you guys it's trauma-based, coping mechanisms, etc., etc., etc. Now, some of you it's almost like because you've been holding on to whatever these things are for you individually, that's also been affecting the parameters of your consciousness, the parameters of your ability to co-create. Yeah, your ability to co-create. For some of you it's been affecting your third eye as well. Also felt the sacral there too. Any other messages or insights for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Ooh, humble. Let me take a sip of coffee. There may be some very humbling moments for some people. If you have a humbling moment or two or three during the next few months, just let it crack you open. There's actually a card in the Big Bertha deck, and it didn't come out, but they're showing me that card, and it's literally, it says it's the cracked open card, where certain things happen to us, or we not happen to us, let me put it another way. We experience certain things, we experience certain events, and that's what it does. Like an ego death, right? Or cracks our heart open so we can just get down to the bedrock of who we are and we can let go of things that we have no business being attached to. I really recommend listening to The Mastery of Self by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's an amazing book, and I think it actually goes really well aligned to what it is that we're going through right now. On Audible. I don't have any sponsors or anything. Just like, it's just something I'm recommending. Anyway, any other messages or insights? Not taking those. Any other messages or insights for Venus retrograding in Leo for the collective? Who the cards want to talk? They're getting a little like splitter spattery. Because what we're going through now too is not just a mastery of self, but it's also a mastery of connection. It's a mastery of love in a way, of that exchange, but it's also mastery of recognizing who we really are, and what is for us and what is not, and also our own roles and how we do co-create reality. It's like there's a lot of mastery layers going on here for a lot of us. Now, not all of you are going to resonate with that. For those of you guys where that's where you are in your journey, that's where you're at in your journey, you know who you are. I just keep going back to that book. But so, okay, so there's a reason clearly that there's a reason I felt drawn to listen to it around this period of time. Anyway, it's on Audible. Anything else for the collective, for Venus retrograding in Leo? I can tell the cards have more to say, but like I said, they're like spitting the cards at me. Can we calm the deck down, please? Can we calm it down? As they spit 3 more at me, but these feel good. Oh my. Oh, there it is. The Fool in reverse with the King of Cups and the High Priestess. That Fool in reverse feels like there's such a deep impulse, but also a holding back and restriction from the heart. King of Cups. Anybody who's been getting synchronicities about manta rays or stingrays, you may also resonate with this. I'm bringing that up because they just showed it to me, and that has been representing the King of Cups to me, especially coupled with the High Priestess. Like that's the perfect explanation of manta ray energy as an animal totem, is like High Priestess meets King of Cups. It's this ability to have such a mastery over our spiritual selves and over our emotions, to where it doesn't overtake us, but we're always connected to it, so we can always act from our heart spaces and act from this place of really deep, authentic truth and divine wisdom. I know it's a mouthful, but it is. And it also has this like divine masculine meets feminine sort of energy, and here we have that with the King of Cups and the High Priestess. I bet if I use the animal cards, I bet the stingray card would come out. But anyway, with the Fool in reverse, I feel this repression of this. There's a recognition of the repression of this, where there's a fear to give and receive fully from the heart authentically. But that's what we're going to overcome in Venus retrograding in Leo, okay? Again, the strangle on the heart, right? What's been strangling your heart all these years, or your whole lifetime, or many lifetimes, or maybe many lifetimes, many lifetimes. Any other messages or insights for Venus retrograding in Leo? First, okay, I gotta stop. I feel like I was gonna say some of you, but I think this applies to everybody. When it comes to this King of Cups energy, yes, have there been things that have still been brewing in your heart space, or holding onto your heart space in some way, or holding onto your soul? Ooh, primordial setting the stuff that we've been breaking through the last couple months, but let's not go there right now. It's a whole other video. Talked about it in many other videos. While there have been things holding on to you in that kind of a way, you were not always a King of Cups. We were not always a King of Cups. We were not always as evolved, or we were not always as mature, right? Emotionally or spiritually. That took many waves of activations, ascensions, life experiences, shadow work, doing the work on ourselves, right? Being reflective, taking accountability, all of that stuff. That's also what I'm saying. Like, this is not going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to resonate with this, but I think enough of you who watch me, who are part of my little collective here, will resonate with this. You may not have always been here, but you are now. So it is time to free yourself in that energy and really fully unchain. Okay? Anything else for the collective for Venus retrograding in Leo? Interesting. 10 of Cups in reverse. Ooh. Knight of Swords in reverse. Empress in reverse. The Two of Swords in reverse. And the Devil, the recognition. Yeah. It's just continuing on its message here, but it's recognizing the Devil. It's recognizing the chains. Recognizing the chains. The Knight of Swords in reverse with the 10 of Cups in reverse and the Empress in reverse. I don't love that energy. To me, this does feel like there's some drama going down during Venus retrograde, which I mean we all kind of knew was words. There's a potential for. There we go. There's a potential for. I'm also getting this longing, this yearning for more, this longing and yearning for people who can really truly give and receive in that energy of unconditional love. With that divine wisdom, with that maturity, right? With that higher consciousness. And it hasn't been there. But Empress in reverse, there's been a lack of growth to really see why that is. But now we see why it is. We see why it is. We're seeing the Devil that we need to get rid of. And the Empress being in reverse as well. How do I want to say this? How do I want to say this? Because I'm getting a little bit of denial. I guess that's how I want to say it. I'm getting a little bit of denial kind of vibes here of the accountability that has needed to happen there. Just saying. Just saying. Now, when it comes to relationships, you guys could also be clearing an Empress out of your life. Or people around you could be clearing Empresses out of their life. I only mention that because I am feeling that coming up here. And it's not that they were false empresses. I want to be very clear. It's not that they were false empresses, right? It's just how energy works, right? As we're recognizing this within ourselves, we're recognizing it in our reality and then shifting, right? The Devil that has plagued us as far as our divinity or our, I really feel like it's like a soul thing. It's not just a heart thing. It goes deeper than that. Anything that's been chained to us in that way where we haven't been fully 100% free in that energy, we're just seeing it more now. If we let ourselves. If we keep practicing denial, we're going to practice denial. If we keep letting fear rule us, we're going to still be letting fear rule us, right? But it's time to be free of all that, okay? All right, guys, I got to go because I'm on a schedule. But I do want to do the sign readings for Venus retrograding in Leo. Hopefully I can get to them soon. We shall see. But I love you. Thank you guys for watching, and good luck with Venus retrograde. See ya.